In this video, I'm going to share with you the top strategies that have worked for me over the last 10 to 15 years in coping with irritable bowel syndrome, commonly known as IBS. How's it going, guys? Dr. Chris Sovey back with another episode of TGIF, Talking Gut Immuno Fridays, where we talk about gut health, sinus health, and improving your immune system function through lifestyle choices. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you never miss another video again. Now, I've been coping with irritable bowel syndrome for at least 10 years. It seems like it's getting closer to 15 now. I've made some great strides in the way that I feel. My bowel function has improved a lot, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're not going to be embarrassed hearing about these kind of details. So what I'm going to share with you are the things that have worked for me the most, and most of these are more of a research-based approach. They work for me, they may or may not work for you, especially considering that people have different presentations of IBS. Some have more of like a diarrhea-prone type IBS, some have more of like a constipation type prone IBS. But here's what it really comes down to, guys. The thing that we're gonna think about is going back to that idea of the gut-brain connection. And if that's not something that you're familiar with, check out you just type that in Google, type in gut-brain connection, and you can see how closely the two are interlinked. And you think of something like, everybody feels this, like, I feel butterflies in my stomach. And that kind of thing is that connection. We have that very intimate connection between what's going up in the mind and what's going on with our gut health. And now studies are even starting to show down into the microbial level. So, you hear about probiotics and having the good bugs in your gut. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about here, and making sure that if you're actually working on your mind and the things that you put in your mind, it can have an influence on your microbial community in your gut, and that's crazy. And vice versa is true. They've seen in depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders that if we have a dysfunctional gut, it's commonly known as dysbiosis, which means that the microbes, the little critters, the bacteria and yeast imbalance is off. That can influence your depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders as well. So what I have done over the last decade, and this is a slow process, give yourself time and permission to heal. Very important. And what I've done, and I've known that it takes a long time for these things to heal. It takes a long time for you to regain bowel function, whether it was induced from a round of antibiotics, whether it's induced from stress. So the first thing I would tell you to do is rule out any medical causes of irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. That's something you're going to have to work with a specialist with. There are plenty of doctors out there that specialize in these kind of things. I'm not necessarily saying like a gastroenterologist, because a lot of times they're just going to load you up on meds. Sometimes that's appropriate, but if you're really trying to get back to the bottom of this, I'd suggest finding a functional medicine doctor, somebody that's going to look a little deeper at the labs and some of your inflammatory markers and things like that. So if you've ruled those things out, and you're just someone that has a lot of stress in their lives, then you're going to like some of these messages that I'm going to share with you. The top 3 things I can tell you right off the bat is to slow down, for one thing, start breathing more, and exercise. Those 3 things right off the bat. Now, it seems simple, right? Let's go into those. Let's break those down a little bit deeper and what I mean of those. And when I say slow down, I'm specifically referring to our eating. And this could be a good motto for life for you. But if you want to take in your nutrients and digest those well, let's think about irritable bowel syndrome. First, there is not typically medically an associated inflammation that goes along with this. But your bowels are irritated. It's right in the name. Now, what's going to happen if you just shove food down your throat, you don't chew it, you eat it as fast as you can, and then your body has no time to respond to that. So it's just like, oh man, we got to make way for this. You also, to go along with that, actually have a reflex that tells your stomach when it's time to stop eating. And that's not activated for up to about 10 minutes when you're eating. So if you're eating an entire meal, in less than 4 to 5 minutes, that's probably not a good time to be eating. You need to find time to set aside for your eating. And if that means you're not going to eat as much at lunch and you're just going to snack a little bit throughout the day, you only have a few minutes here and there, that's probably a better approach. I can tell you hands down, this is the number one thing that has helped me the most, is to slow down my eating. And then going into the next one, which is the breathing. You combine those two together. Slow down, take some deep breaths before you have your meal. Say a prayer, do whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself in the zone, meditate before you go into eating. And for me, that just means I'm just gonna take a couple of deep breaths. A lot of times I'm doing that, people don't even notice. And I'm just trying to get myself in the focus of eating the meal and being present in that meal. Of course, that means put down those cell phones. That's something that I struggle with. I always want to pick up my cell phone, but put down the cell phones. Start paying attention to what you're eating and how you're eating it, and it makes a big difference in how you feel. I've more than doubled the time it takes me to eat now because I've started to take some of these things into my own practice over the last several years, and I've noticed, and the way I can tell you it works is because you'll know based on your stools. When you take a crap, it's gonna look different now, and if you're having problems it's a good marker. If you look at your stool when you take a dump, it's going to change if you're doing the right things. It's always a good marker of what's going on with your gut health. So those are things you want to take into consideration. The stools should have some good form to them. They shouldn't be like little pebbles or hard rocks or have no form at all, and they certainly shouldn't have blood with them. That's or dark blood. That's an even bigger red flag. But if you're just having some poorly formed stools, that's where I would encourage you to start. And then so going along with that, breathing throughout the day. Now I'll tell you, people feel like they're too busy to fit some of these things in. Maybe it's time to shed some responsibilities elsewhere. Get some things, stop being a yes person. If you're one of those people that's a yes person to everything, stop saying yes so you can take time to take better care of yourself. If you can't find 10 minutes in your day to do some deep breathing, that's a fundamental problem with the way that you're structuring your day. So you got to find that 10 minutes in your day to take care of you so you can feel better and you can be a better value to other people. So by doing so, by spending that few minutes on yourself, then you're going to be able to be a better service to the rest of the world. And lastly is the exercise. Now, there are a great deal of studies that have come out, and the pile of literature is just growing on the effects of exercise in all components of our body and our physiology. But one of the biggest ones is the gut, also the cardiovascular system. It can have a profound effect on you. Now, if you're a complicated case and you got a lot of different things going on, then you're gonna have to ease your way into this. And I always encourage people not to burn out. So being a physical therapist like me, we ease people into exercise. If you're not used to exercising, you gotta find something that you like. And I'm not saying you have to jump on a treadmill or do other types of exercise that you don't like. Find something that you like and stick to it. So if you want to do something else that's not a traditional type of exercise, whether it's outside, whether you like to hike, whether you like to do yoga, whether you like to do different types of dancing, those are all great ways to move the body. I will tell you that the number one thing I've found that's helped me, particularly to irritable bowel syndrome, is cardiovascular exercise, though. It seems to have the biggest profound effect in my case. And again, that may or may not be true for you. There are other things out there too, guys. There are people that are looking at supplements and stuff like that. I can't tell you consistently that I've had good results with those, but be sure to explore some of those avenues. A lot of people get hit or miss results with probiotics, and I can tell you that sometimes they don't work well for people because you're trying to force in a type of bacteria that might not fit in with your microbiome. So instead, try something that's native to most people, lactic acid bacteria, through something like fermented foods, whether it's sauerkraut, kimchi, or other fermented foods. That's a little more natural and your body knows exactly what to do with it. It's got the digestive enzymes that are going to go along with it because it's broken down. There's live enzymes in the juice itself of whatever the brine is from the fermentation process. So you can look at those. You can look at things like L-glutamine. You can look at some of the healthy fats like ghee, and some people have even said like the black licorice root, and there are a bunch of things out there. I can't say that I've had consistent success with those, and honestly it really adds up to a lot of money. So start by investing in yourself, invest more time in yourself, and then you can be a better service to others and give back to others. I hope this has been helpful, guys. This has been another episode of TGIF, Talking Gut Immuno Fridays. I try to post every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like, share it to somebody else that you think would find it helpful as well, and be sure to check back next Friday. I look forward to seeing you next Friday.